Hi there, Attorney Philip Warren with Taylor, Warren & Widener, and we have contractor Jon Pruitt with Addison Riley. He's a local contractor and he's done a lot of renovations and consulting work. And we're going to be talking to him about some of the common issues that you really need to know and consider in dealing with contractors. So there are obviously a lot of people that are advertising about, doing repairs for Hurricane Michael and estimates. Can you tell us some of the benefits of hiring a local contractor as opposed to someone that's just come into the area after the storm?
I can make that real simple for you. Somebody comes in after the storm and they're from another state. The Florida building code is very, very stringent, and if they don't know all of the ins and outs of how to get through permitting, when you have to have engineering, when you don't, it can really cause you a lot of problems. A good case in point, I know of one that got shut down because the contractor started construction, never got structural engineering. Code enforcement shut them down, and once they found out, they did an inspection, and it caused them all sorts of problems. So you have a local contractor who knows the ins and outs of the municipality that he's working for. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of headache.
In dealing with contractors and considering hiring a contractor to help rebuild the home, or even get an idea of what the cost might be in rebuilding the home, what are the kinds of qualifications or questions that a homeowner or policyholder should ask someone they're considering hiring?
Number one thing is, have you ever done an insurance restoration claim before? There's so many nuances and so much red tape that go in with dealing with an insurance company, because let's not forget the mortgage company's involved as well. You've got to handle the client, you've got to handle the insurance company, the mortgage company, the escrow funds. Do you know how to use the insurance estimate software so the estimate's not kicked back a bunch of times to streamline the process? So number one thing I would ask is, have you done this? Do you have experience at insurance restoration? Because a guy who builds nothing but $500,000 homes, he might be an excellent contractor. Doesn't mean he's the best one to fix your fire damaged structure.
So after a large event like Hurricane Michael, one of the problems that we hear about is that you have a lot of contractors that come in, but there's still a huge demand, and oftentimes policyholders, they're just trying to get their home fixed, but they're being asked to put a deposit down for the work that needs to be done, and that's certainly something you can understand from the contractor's perspective. They want some payment up front, but there's just so many stories of people paying a contractor something and then they run off. I mean, what is a reasonable amount to put down? What is it that, could you kind of address that? What safeguards, what do you recommend to homeowners? What do you require? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I actually can. And actually, why don't we just refer to the Florida statute? There's actually a Florida statute that relates to this. And that statute is that any deposit given before 10% of the entire job, I believe it's either 30 or 90 days, they have to actually begin construction. So, depending on the job, if it's a small job, I know we're talking about insurance restoration here, but if it's a renovation, it can kind of creep up because you've got a lot of things you got to buy. But an insurance restoration, if they're not starting right away, give them 10%. And to be honest with you, the insurance company is going to release the funds, and the mortgage company will disperse out of their escrow from what the insurance company has paid in thirds. So the mortgage company typically will release 33%. At the halfway point, they'll release another 33%, and then they'll release the final 33% at the end. So if you have a mortgage involved, they're gonna let the deposit go of 33%. But if you're coming out of pocket, do it at 10% until you get under construction, costs have been incurred, and then you can work it out with the contractor. But up front, when you're going through all the red tape and all that, 10% is really where it needs to be.
Let's talk about insurance estimates that have been provided to homeowners that have damage after Hurricane Michael. Maybe they call you up and ask you to come out and take a look and help them with putting their house back together. If you come out and you identify either additional damage that's not in that estimate, or that the cost for some of the materials and work are actually not on par, how does that work? Can you help us address? I mean, is the homeowner just stuck at that point, or what happens?
That's actually very common. It's not uncommon for me to come out to a job and an insurance adjuster has come out and given them a price or funded their property, let's say for $100,000, and then I come back, it's $180,000. Don't fret. This is very, very common. It's a blessing that they've actually funded you $100,000, but we'll file a supplemental claim and capture either the remaining 80, or we'll capture a negotiated amount. I don't want to use the word negotiate because that's not really what it is, but it's what we agree to with the insurance company in their line items of their software is probably a good way to put it. As long as what we do can be correlated to an actual cost incurred, or we can show them in the insurance software, these are the guidelines of what is paid for this particular item, we can get that done through a supplemental claim and keep on moving.
So if someone has damage to their home and they contact you and you come out to their house, besides determining what needs to be done, the repairs to be made, do you also make a determination regarding a cause and origin of the damage?
The one thing we want to try and do is find out what caused it for sure, because what if we repair something but we don't really find the underlying cause? Good case in point, we're ripping off stucco off of a home and it's a water intrusion issue, and everybody thinks it's the stucco, and it is the stucco, don't get me wrong, but there was another underlying cause. The storm protection panel mates that get screwed in that holds up your panels and your fabric also had no sealant. So water was getting in through the panel mates. That's required by code. They had to be there. But that caused more rot, and we had to remove all the windows. So it's real important to find out where it came from, because what if I didn't fix those panel mates? I would have fixed all this entire home. Somebody pays me $100,000, didn't find all of the root cause, only found half of it. That would have been a problem. So we want to track them down. We want to make sure it's 100% correct.